Thank you for joining us at VC2, where we are real people meeting real needs with the reality of Christ. If you have a testimony or any questions, we'd love to hear from you. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter as VC2 Online. You can also find out more about us, notes from each message, and a way to give at live.vc2online.com. We'd also love for you to stay up to date with what's going on here at VC2 by downloading the VC2 app. And you can find it wherever you get your apps from. Today we're wrapping up our 4-week series, Joseph. During this series, we've been studying Joseph's journey from the promise to the promotion. And in today's message, Pastor Chad Waller talks about how the promotion or the fulfillment of the dream that God has given you is all in God's timing, and we have to trust Him. Now, here's today's message.
We're doing a series right now on Joseph, and I'm not demeaning anyone or putting anyone down by doing this. It just helps me sometimes to break it down and go to the simplicity of Bible stories. Also, one time I was doing a story from the Bible and I started talking about something, and I assumed everyone knew the stories from the Old Testament. Because I was forced to go to church when I was a kid. I say forced because there was no choice. I mean, when I was growing up, you got up on Sunday morning, you went to church. I didn't actually know there were other things going on Sunday mornings when I was growing up. I thought you had to go to church because it wasn't like, hey, y'all want to go to church? It was every Sunday. Not my dad every Sunday, though, because my dad told me that it didn't take as much Jesus for him as it did everybody else. And so I thought, well, when I get old, maybe I won't need as much Jesus as we do now. But every Sunday we went to church. My mom took us and the kids. And so I learned all the Bible stories. And so I appreciate my heritage of knowing the Bible stories. Now, it was much older in life before I realized that those stories were written as examples to teach us lessons. And one of my favorite stories is about Joseph. And just to bring you up to speed with where we're at right now, this dude named Joseph, his dad's got a bunch of sons, but Joseph is the favorite one. So much so that dad bought some nice colored material to make him a coat. And his brothers already disliked him because he was dad's favorite. And he's not the oldest, but he's dad's favorite. And one night, Joseph has a dream. And in his dream, he sees his brothers bowing down to him. And so Joseph gets up the next day and he's like, hey guys, I had a dream. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Y'all are going to bow down to me and I'm going to rule over y'all. Well, none of the brothers got excited about that. He's already the favorite. Now he's got the favorite coat, or the nice coat, and now he's telling them, God's given me a dream. Y'all are all going to bow down and serve me. And they got very angry. And so they came up with a plan. They saw him coming one day. Dad sends him out to check on the sheep. The brothers see him coming, and they come up with a plan. He's coming. Let's kill him and see what becomes of his dreams. Now, some of y'all might have had it bad in life. Maybe you had some siblings that were a little rough. But I don't know if any of you ever had siblings that said, here comes the brother, let's kill him and tell Dad a wolf did it, right? And so these dudes are really seriously messed up. They see Joseph coming, that we're going to kill him. But one of the brothers, as Joseph gets closer, says, hey, let's don't kill him. Let's just put him in a pit. And this brother was the oldest, Reuben, and he was going to come back and save Joseph later and restore him to the father. And so they said, okay, that's good. Let's just put him in a pit. So they put him in a pit, and then they sat down to eat. They were going to put blood on the coat and take it back and say, Dad, look, he got eaten by wild beast, and this is all that's left, the coat. And then while they're eating, some folks come by, some slave traders. They've got goods they're taking to Egypt, and they come up with an idea. One of them gets real industrious, and he says, hey, why don't we make some money off this thing? We'll get rid of the brother. We'll get rid of the dreamer. We'll see what becomes of his dreams. Let's sell him. So they sold him and got 20 shekels of silver. So somebody was very entrepreneurial. They decided to make money off this dastardly deed they're doing. So this is where we pick up in the story. They sell him, and he goes as a slave to Egypt. So they go back home to tell Dad. And Jacob was very upset when he saw the coat. This coat is covered with blood. They give it to him. He thought that Joseph had been eaten by a wild animal. Now, I have to do this because when you read a story, you have to see the pictures, see? I mean, it wouldn't be right if I just read the story and didn't show the pictures, correct? Everybody got it? Got it? Got it? Got it? All right. Look at Jacob. He's all sad. He's sitting down. Come, what do you say when somebody's sad? Oh, thank you. All right. All right. Going on. Joseph's father was sad for a long time because he thought his favorite son was dead. Jacob didn't know that the merchants had taken Joseph to Egypt. He's very sad. This is how sad he is. He's in bed. Everybody ever been so sad you had to stay in bed for a long time? Because he thinks his son is dead. He thinks he's gone. Joseph was alive and well, working as a slave. Many things happened to him before he saw his family again, but that's another story. And that's where this book ends the story. It doesn't even tell us all the good parts. So I want to look at some of the good parts that happen after this. I want to read you a little bit here from the Bible, from the book of Genesis in chapter 41. Joseph, here he is, he has a dream, and he believes God wants to use him. His brothers hate him. They want to kill him. They throw him in a pit. They end up coming up with a plan to sell him. They take the coat home. They break their father's heart, and they sell him. Joseph is now off in Egypt. He becomes a servant. He becomes a servant in this dude's house, and he does very well. Because he's brilliant, he does very well in this guy's house. And he's a young guy, and he's not too bad looking, And one day, the master's wife says, "Hey, Joseph, come over here to the couch with me." And Joseph was like, I ain't laying on that couch with you, because that would be wrong. And he runs from her, and she grabs part of his clothing. And then she goes and tells her husband, "Look what this servant has done to me. He has come in and abused me." And it was all a lie. Hold up. Y'all have had some rough lives. I know there are folks in here that's had some rough lives. Have your siblings thrown you in a pit? Have they sold you as a slave? Have they told dad you were dead? Has your master's wife tried to lay with you? And y'all know I ain't talking about taking a nap, right? All right, just making sure. And lied on you and said you raped her. And now what happens is, as if it wasn't bad enough being a slave in Egypt, now he gets thrown into prison. Joseph is going through it, all because he says, God gave me a dream. That's all. That's all he did wrong. Hey, guys, I got a dream. Boom, kick, sell, whoop, serving. Come here, lay with me. And into the pit. Now he's in prison. He's just chilling. He's learning in prison. He's saying, God, whatever you want for my life. I'm going to love God, going to serve God, going to trust God no matter what I go through. Here's Joseph. And this dude in prison who used to work for Pharaoh, he has a dream, and Joseph interprets it for him. And the guy's like, I tell you what. In fact, two people. And he says, I tell you what, when I get out of here, I'm going to tell Pharaoh about you. And the guy gets out, and he doesn't tell Pharaoh. Now Joseph has been forgotten. Any of you feel like somebody made a promise and you were forgotten? Now Joseph is stuck in prison. And all of a sudden, one night, Pharaoh has a dream. And the guy who had made a promise goes, hey, guess what, Pharaoh? I know a guy who can interpret dreams. And Joseph, the dreamer, gets called to Pharaoh. Pharaoh so likes his idea, sees the wisdom, and understands that he has interpreted his dream and done what nobody else could do. And then Pharaoh does this. This is in Genesis 41. Pharaoh, in verse 38, it says, and Pharaoh said to his servants, can we find a man like this in whom is the Spirit of God? Pharaoh recognizes the Spirit of God is in Joseph. Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, since God has shown you all this, there is none so discerning and wise as you are. You shall be over my house, and all my people shall order themselves as you command. Only as regards to the throne will I be greater than you. And Pharaoh said to Joseph, see, I have set you over all the land of Egypt. Come on. Then Pharaoh took a signet ring from his hand and put it on Joseph's hand. He takes his ring that seals royal decrees and puts it on Joseph's hand. Where was Joseph at a few minutes before this? Prison. He was in a cell. Come on. And he says, then Pharaoh took a signet ring, put it on his hand, and put it on Joseph's hand, took off his hand, put it on Joseph, and clothed him in garments of fine linen, and put a gold chain around his neck. Probably bigger than Flavor Flav's. And he made him ride his second chariot. And they called out before him, bow the knee. Dude dreamed that people were going to bow down to him. But everything in his life has gone completely diametrically opposed to his dream. And now, just like that, it's happening. Bow the knee. Thus he set him over all the land of Egypt. Moreover, Pharaoh said to Joseph, I am Pharaoh, and without your consent, no one shall lift up hand or foot in all the land of Egypt. This is amazing to me that Joseph went from prison to second in command simply by letting God use him, simply by trusting God. He submitted to the plan of God. He submitted to the process of God. And because of that, he was right where God needed him in order to do what God needed done. You understand there was a famine. Joseph came up with a plan to save not only Egypt, but most of the known world. Egypt was the most wealthy and most ruling country at the time. Joseph now is second command in Egypt, and we could say second command in the power of the world at the time. He goes from completely despised and rejected to in command of a nation. Pharaoh made him the most important man in his kingdom. You have to see it this way. Joseph had been using a staff, a shepherd's staff. Up to this point, Joseph had been a shepherd. And this is an old worn-out shepherd's staff that he used for the sheep. This is what was his authority. And when people saw him with this, they knew what he was. People saw him with this staff, and they looked down on him because shepherds were the lowest of the society. And so they saw him with this, and they probably could smell him coming if he was with sheep at all. But this was his authority at the time to poke sheep, to prod sheep. This was his staff. He probably used this to lean on. And now all of a sudden Pharaoh pulls him out of a prison and he gives them something like this, so that nobody can come before him unless he extends the royal scepter and gives them permission to come. And they have to bow before him because he cries out, "Bow before Joseph." He says, "No one will have more authority except for me." He says, even only in regards to the throne will I be higher than you. He's saying, I'm going to listen to what you have to say. Joseph has gone from complete brokenness to the wealth of the country is now his. It is amazing. He gives him this ring, which means that whatever Joseph says now, if Joseph says, "I want all this wheat over there. I want this, build this there and do this, and these people need to go there, and I want you people to serve." And whatever he proclaims and he signs it with that signet ring, it can't be revoked. This is the great authority that he's been given. He's gone from being a shepherd, from being discarded, from being sold as a slave. He's gone from being nobody, and now he is promoted to rule over this kingdom. Listen to this, guys. When God is ready to promote you, He will. Yeah, that's right. When God is ready to promote you, nothing can stop it. When God needs you somewhere, He can get you there. It's just you being willing to yield to the Father's plan. We see nowhere that Joseph fought against anything. This is amazing to me that all he's been through and now he's promoted and he takes this place and he says, "I'm going to serve and I'm going to do this for the sake of the people, to save people." You know, God sees things we can't see. God sees the future. Sometimes we're going through things and we don't understand the processes. We talked about last week, processes. And sometimes we don't understand the processes we're going through. Some of you right now are going through things in your life. You may be in situations and you don't even understand why you're doing that or why you're where you're at. But God knows. He knows why you're doing what you're doing right now. He knows the process that you're in. And He knows your promotion time. He knows exactly what it's going to take to get you to the promotion. He puts us in the right places at the right time for the right purposes to advance His kingdom. He's advancing His kingdom in us because He wants to advance it through us. You know, last Saturday I got to go watch a high school graduation. And there were people that about 200 people that walked across the stage. They had somebody standing there, and the kids would walk up and they would hand them this, you know, and they do that awkward shake where you don't know, do I do over or under, and you shake and then they give them this. But every one of them that did that, they were graduated, they were promoted. Every one of them that did that had gone through the process to get to the promotion. Nobody just showed up and goes, "Oh, it's a graduation. Oh, I want one of those." Nobody ran down on the field like, "I want a diploma." Because you can't. You can't be promoted until you've done the process. See, and the process was difficult for some of them. You know, some folks walked across that stage. You know, they had stuff, they called them valedictorians and salutatorians and whatever all that is. It means they were either way smarter than me or they worked a lot harder. I don't know. But all I know is that those people, no matter who they were, there were all different levels of processes that walked across that stage. Some people, their families were so excited because they didn't know if they were going to get that promotion. And they were like waiting, like, you know, did he? Yes, he got all C's. He passed. Yes. And other people were like, you know, straight A's and went across. And but here's the deal. It doesn't matter. Everybody got this. Amen. No matter the level of work, no matter the level of success or failure, they got this because they stayed in the process. And God knows when your promotion time is. He knows when He knows where He wants to use you and what He wants to do in you and through you. Joseph's life has such a great example. And there are so many stories we can see in the storyline, different storylines in his life, and we can learn so much. Here's one thing. Joseph was a man of great character. He's a man of great character. He's very gifted. But even all of his gifts and character, even all of his talents, even all of the talents and gifts, God still had to work on his character. Listen to this statement. Gifts and talents may be impressive and immediate. People can impress you with their gifts. People can impress you with talents. But character is what God looks for, and it's what always takes time to develop. It's what He is taking time to develop in each one of us, character. Because I've often said this, your gift may promote you. People may see that you're gifted and talented, but only character will sustain that promotion. See, anybody can be good at something and people will praise them, but it doesn't take long until you see some football star who can't live life because he's a mess. Some singer who has a great talent but can't navigate life because they're a complete wreck emotionally. Because your character is what it's going to take to sustain your promotion. We see in Joseph's life such amazing character is presented as he has this opportunity when his brothers come. There's famine in the land. It's gotten so bad. His brothers come to Egypt and they're coming and they're looking for food. Listen to me. You cannot use your promotion to get revenge on other people. In fact, may I tell you that I don't even believe you'll get your promotion if there's still revenge in your heart. I don't believe you can get your promotion. I believe what you'll get is the pit and the prison, and you'll get staying from one pit to another prison to a pit, and you'll just keep having that because God's working on your character. Listen, I've often talked about forgiveness. Forgiveness is not for the other person, it's for you, because when you forgive, you let go and you go free. When you choose to forgive, when you choose to see it from a different light, you are the one that is being set free from that thing. It's not giving somebody permission to hurt you again. It's saying, I'm not going to let what you did stop me from moving forward. Joseph's brothers messed him up. I mean, it doesn't make sense what they did. Just because the dude had a dream, they hated him. They tried to kill him, sold him into slavery. Now here he is in Egypt, and he has the opportunity now. So picture this. He's there ruling in Egypt, and people are coming because of famine, and they're coming to him asking for food. Here comes his brothers. The brothers don't recognize him. Joseph plays some games with him. I love it. He does it to find out if his father's alive. But here the brothers, they come before him, and he holds out the royal scepter, and they come, and they're asking for food. The story's incredible when you read it, but this is the part that amazes me. Listen, when Joseph finally reveals himself to his brothers, they are terrified. Wouldn't you be? Yeah. I'd be like, dude, Joseph, the one we try to kill? You look really cool now with all that stuff on you, and you're going to kill us all. I mean, wouldn't you think that? I'd be like, hey, Joseph, I didn't want to kill you. That wasn't me. That was him. I mean, I was thinking you was cool. I just didn't want to say anything. But I went back and looked for you. I couldn't find you. Right? Come on, somebody. You start trying to lie your way out of that thing. And there stands Joseph. He is the commander of the armies of Egypt. And he has right to say, drag these poor, pitiful brothers of mine out of here. I don't want nothing to do with them. Listen to what he says. Whew. And now do not be distressed or angry with yourselves because you sold me here. For God sent me here before you to preserve life. Who did what? God sent you. They sent you. They sold you. For the famine has been in the land these 2 years, and there are yet 5 years in which there will be neither plowing nor harvesting. And God sent me here. Joseph, God didn't send you here. The boys sent you there. You see this different. I don't get it. How does Joseph say God sent them there? Come on. Do you have things in your life that you're still pointing at somebody? Are you in a process right now and you're blaming it on somebody else and you can't even see God is saving your life through the process you are in right now? Amen. And you're still trying to blame somebody else. They sent him there, but Joseph sees it different. He's standing there with the right to take revenge. How many of you, if you were given the opportunity to say off with somebody's head, would do it? How many of you would the person who abused you, who hurt you, who broke you, who didn't do the right thing that you thought they should do, if you were given the opportunity right now, I don't want to kill you, but I'm finna make you hurt. Joseph says, hey guys, don't be nervous. Don't be afraid. God sent me here. God set all this up. Who did what? God. God sent me here to preserve on earth for you a remnant on earth and to keep alive for you many survivors. So it was not you who sent me here, but God. What? It was not you who sent me here, but God. You are at where you're at right now by the mercy of God. You are there because God wants to set you free from something, and you can kick and scream, but you're going to have to wake up and realize God has sent you there and He has a purpose. Joseph's purpose was so much bigger than being a slave in Potiphar's house. His purpose was to save a nation and to save his family and to preserve the line through which Jesus would come. Amen. He says, but God has sent me here. He's made me a father to Pharaoh and Lord of all his house, and ruler over all the land of Egypt. In chapter 50, verse 20, he says, as for you, you meant evil against me. Some of us, there were things done to us, people did stuff to us, and they meant evil to us. Listen to what he says. You meant evil against me, but God. Somebody shout, but God. But God meant it for good. How can your vision be changed so much that you would believe that the things somebody did to harm you, God could use it for good? That when somebody thought they would destroy you, God says, I'll make something good of that. Can you dare look up above what you have believed, and can you possibly see that this man was sold into slavery, hated, killed, tried to kill him, and he says, y'all didn't do that. Well, I'm reading the story, and it looked like to me they did that. Come on, if somebody reads your storyline, will it look like somebody else did something? Or can you possibly see that maybe God had a plan for all of it? And though God did not do evil to you, God did not do the evil. Listen to what he said. What you meant for evil, God meant for good, to bring it about that many people should be kept alive as they are today. So do not fear. I will provide for you and your little ones. Thus, and this blows me away, thus he comforted them and spoke kindly to them. All right, I'm with Joseph. Okay, I could see, all right, I see, yeah, God did this, and this is all going to be good. It's all right, guys, but I don't like y'all. Come on, somebody. Don't be all Christian on me right now at this moment. We'd be like, okay, I forgive you, but I don't like you. Can you forgive? Can you even imagine? Think right now. Think in this moment of the person. And don't play what Jesus would do with me right now. Just the person that you're trying not to hate. Or maybe the person that you are hating. And can you imagine speaking kindly to them and comforting them? Because there's a part of us that wants them to hurt as much as they hurt us. But there's a freedom in saying, I know what you did. You thought you were going to break me, but God's going to use that to make me the man I'm called to be. I know you meant that for harm. I know what you did, but I tell you what, I'm going to let that go, and I'm going to forgive, and God is going to have His revenge. God will deal with this. I'm going to trust God. God can do something. That's what's so amazing to me, that Joseph has been hated, threatened with death, thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, completely abandoned by his brothers, and all just because of serious jealousy and envy. And now in that place, he's speaking kindly to them and he's comforting them. They meant harm to him, but God meant it for good. This is the whole amazing story for me. What the enemy means to use for evil against you, God can use for good. What the enemy said he would use to destroy you, God can turn it around. I know there may be some things in your life right now you think, I don't know how God can turn this around. But I mean, look at Joseph. 1 minute he's in the prison, and the next minute he's in the palace. Maybe there's some things, always after a message like this, we'll have some guys say, Pastor, do you really think God can do something for me? Yes, for you. Who, me? Yes, you. You really think God can change this? Look at Joseph in the pit, in the prison, for no wrongdoing of his own. And just using his gift and being faithful, God promotes him in the kingdom. The very thing that the enemy said he would use to destroy you, now this is my favorite line right now. God will use for your good and for His glory. Amen. The very thing the enemy said, I'm going to make some of you. The enemy said, I'm going to addict you. I'm going to get you addicted to this thing, so that you'll never live a normal life. And God says, no. Instead, I'm going to make you completely dependent on me in that area that the enemy said, I will break you so that you'll never be the man you're called to be. God will take that place that the enemy tried to break you, and He will use it for your good and for His glory. I can stand here before you tonight and tell you that God can do that. The place where the enemy tried to make you a nobody, God will pour His grace upon you and make you a somebody for His glory. I just want you to bow your heads. Let me just ask you a simple question. First of all, what is Holy Spirit speaking to you? I want you to think about the person that you would say has done you the most harm, who's brought the most grief in your life. Can you even imagine yourself forgiving them? Can you even imagine, just use your imagination, can you imagine yourself speaking kindly to them, letting them go? Not in a rage, but in a declaration of peace in your heart, saying, I will no longer let you destroy my life. You see, because if you don't let go of the desire for revenge, I'm concerned that you will stay in that place of bondage to hatred and never find the promotion that God desires for you.